Hello, and welcome to Manifesting with Ari Mack. I'm your host, spiritual coach Ari Mack. I don't predict the future. I help you plan it, and that's through my skill set of understanding astrology, affirmations, and aromatherapy. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Now, today we're going to talk about Aries season is upon us, and the thing about Aries, okay, it is the first in the zodiac, which makes it the most incredible sign in the zodiac in the sense that they're the very first ones. They're the very first ones. Aries literally are the trailblazers. They are our pioneers. They're the ones that are to take that chance. They're ruled by Mars. And Mars, as you know, rules war, action, but more importantly, direction. Now, there's a saying that they say men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I don't think that's just a saying. And let me give you a really quick rundown of what's going on in the astrology world in general, right? We got the sun in Aries, moon's in Cancer right now. Mercury is still in Pisces, so you know you're still emotional. Venus is in Aries, so that's Venus being in Aries, okay? Mars in Pisces, Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn in Aries as well. Uranus is in Taurus, and Neptune is in Aries, and Pluto is in Aquarius. Now, what does that mean? That means we have a lot of new starting energy at the beginning, at the top of our head, so we can start making decisions that are going to be catapulting us forward. Okay, but how do you make those decisions? See, this is where finding and understanding your astrology path and understanding your spiritual fortitude, because it goes into your belief system and what you believe. That's where your passion is going to come from. That's where your directive is going to come from. And that's where you're going to get the courage to do whatever you have to do to move forward. That's not always easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It takes a great deal of patience to understand self. And I've been blessed and fortunate to have that gift to feel and understand those around me and help self soothe them. I am not a miracle worker. I cannot change the circumstances of which the choices that you've made have brought you there. But what I can do is help you fortify what you truly desire, what you truly want, and help that manifest. And this is where that fiery Aries energy kicks in so beautifully, so beautifully, because it gives you that courage. Now, your sun sign is one aspect, and that's what I'm speaking of right now. There's other things in your chart, your moon, your Mercury. As I said, there's 10 planets and 12 signs. So you do need to find out how those signs work with the energy that you've been given. Now, if I have any Aries that happen to be listening to this, please give me a thumbs up to let me know that you're feeling me and that you understand what we're saying here, because you are one of the courageous of all the fire signs, and you will either be like a ram that will walk in and just tear shit up, or that little lamb, like Mary had a little lamb whose fleet was white as snow, and you can come in to be the most gentle, most loving, most beautiful creature. I've seen Aries self-sacrifice in a way that only Aries can do. Now, I study each of the signs because I have these people in my life, and I want to understand and I want to make sure that I am doing the best I can with the energy that's being given. So, right now, with Venus being in Aries, now Venus normally is in Taurus or Libra. So, it's always more in a balanced sign, wanting to, create some nice energy around itself. With Venus being in Aries, it's much more aggressive. So, love for the most part is going to be on the forefront. People that like you will make it clear they like you, okay, good or bad. But if you happen to have a romantic interest going on, it's right now the energy saying be direct. As I said before, Venus rules love. Mars is how we love, when we do it, our actions. And with Mars being in Pisces, it's more of a subtle, like, get to know you, make ourselves available to one another. Venus in Aries is I want you to tell me what I want. So you can see the clash. So that's why you have to find your mental balance. And that's what the Aries energy gives you. But you have to be honest with yourself, because it's all up in here, literally. Aries literally rules the head. It Astrology is so fascinating, guys. It can actually, if you want to know, could break down things to the most minute things in your life, even how sensitive your stomachs can be. It is very fascinating. Hippocrates, the astrologer, was also a medical person during the Egyptian time, and his work was so renowned that they actually created the Hippocratic Oath based on his teachings. Yeah. And I'm sure he was probably a fire sign. If I guessed, he was probably an Aries. They always have to be first. So, for us to use this energy to move forward, you first need to figure out what your affirmation is. What is it that you're trying to allow in your life? Now, a lot of times we've been programmed by what we've seen. I found between 0 and 5 is where our foundation for information is laid. From 0 and 5, you see your mom, your dad, your cousins, your family members do whatever they do. Indirectly, you take all that energy in. Now, I'll use myself as an example. I had a very strong family circle around me as a little person. So I was feeling very protected and safe. Plus, I was also my grandparents were very involved in the church. So we were either church, we were at work, or we were doing something family. And that's kind of the circle I grew up in. So I understood that what you put out is what you get back. I also understood how to have healthy boundaries because people will push you, especially when you're little and young. But I was fortunate enough to have a grandmother who supported my endeavors and told me it was okay to be different because I always could feel things and sense things, even when I was around negative people, especially people who had very ill thoughts, especially toward children. And those people usually try to isolate or put the person in a position where they feel threatened. I remember I don't want to say a gentleman, a person in our neighborhood was notorious for doing things to children. I don't know why they didn't pick him up and put him in jail. Maybe it's just the time people didn't have that energy. But when he stepped to me and my brother was an Aries, he basically told him we were going to tell everybody, whatever the fuck he said he was going to do. And let me tell you something. This gentleman, I'm not going to call him a gentleman because he's a low down, dirty being, retreated because negative energy does not like honest and direct energies. He knew he could not go any forth with us because, like I said, my brother was an Aries. He had a very strong temperament, and I was going to back him. No matter what he did, he's my brother. I was going to back him all the way over to the edge. So that kind of energy, that self-starting energy, is what Spirit is asking you to use now. Okay. And using your affirmation. All right. Like, what are you affirming to? Do you have an affirmation that connects you to yourself, that makes you feel grounded and centered? Do you even know what an affirmation is? That's a better call because it could be in form of a prayer, a meditation, a scripture, an exercise. Yoga is considered an affirmation because it's your whole body working to create harmony and move the energy around through your lymphatic system. So when you stop and think about Aries energy, I want you to think about how to use it. It's going to be going on for the next, I'd say, 2.5 weeks. And thank goodness we have no more retrogrades. So we're clear. Everything that's coming down is for us to understand and move. See, the retro was supposed to shake it up. We have fallout happening right now. Mercury's still in Pisces. So you're still going to be feeling a little foggy, more dreaming than normal. I know for me, it's been clarification. Okay, clarification and understanding who you guys are and coming up with better ideas to connect with you. Okay, because in order for us to grow, we need this connection on a personal level, not just a spiritual level. You want to be at a place where people see you, hear you, and acknowledge you. And that's the one thing Aries needs more than anything else: acknowledgement, owning oneself's personal space, being able to know that your ideas and suggestions, new or old, will be received. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part. Because the downside of Aries is selfishness, really not thinking about the circumstances of how it's going to affect other people, which could lead to a lot of misunderstandings. Now, the positive part is that if you have been in these situations, this is the time for you to start working on getting out of it. And how do you do that? By being honest with yourself about where you are across the board. Aries energy gives us that. It gives us that clear picture of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And it's okay if you just got a motivation of money. Money is not a bad thing. We go to work and support our families because we need to keep financial support circulating. Now, the energy that I see coming down in this next 3 weeks is going to give you a chance to start pushing away a lot of things you do not need anymore. Yeah, yeah. That retrograde, and it's still got fallout going on, is giving you a chance to see what you cannot tolerate, what energy does not vibrate with you. And this energy now gives you a chance to start implementing, because, Aries is about self starting, it's about being first, it's about being in the number one position, right? That's that ram part of it. But the little lamb, right, still wants to be reassured, comforted, and feel like a sense of belonging. Okay, belonging only happens, guys, if you put yourself in a position of being vulnerable with the people and situations that are offered to you. And how many of us know what's offered? How many of us even acknowledge when someone's given us a compliment? Have you ever done that when somebody says, "Oh, you look pretty," like, "Oh, this whole thing"? Why don't you just say thank you? Is it so hard? Well, yeah, it can be. It can be. Because if you have a lot of dialogue, especially negative programming, that's just been looming around you, and you just don't even know what else to do with it because you're so accustomed to it. Because that's the other part about spirit. Our physical and mental beings can take a lot of shit, guys. A lot. And you see that with people that don't have all their limbs, or people that's been through just terrible, traumatic situations, yet still rise above to be the best version of humanities. So we do have the capacity, but you have to get organized within your physical and psychological and spiritual being. And that's why I want to do this episode about this fire energy, because it's not about being selfish. Healthy boundaries is mandatory. And that's one of the reasons why I've worked so many years to create programs, to create positive vibrational energy, candles, books, classes, even programs. Because we got the GAP now, the Guided Astrology Program, which gives you a weekly insight up to what's going on in and around you, which is so important for your mental well being, guys. Because if you don't really have a thermometer to tune in, or you don't have a routine of how you feed yourself spiritually and mentally, you will fail because you have no inner structure. I mean, think about it. We take time to purchase cars. We take them to put gas in them so that they can take us places. We even wash them and keep them clean so we can look a certain way. Do you spend the same time working on your mind, your body, and your soul? I mean, think about it. When was the last time you just sit and did a meditation and asked yourself just to tune in to what am I feeling? What's going on with my inner self? It's important that you own your choices. You can't keep blaming others, because I'm going to tell you what happens. You stay in a place where you never own or take responsibility. You're constantly finding fault with everything around you, the person, the situations, the people, on and so forth. Never your fault. You end up losing a lot of reality checks. So, therefore, you live in an alternate state in your consciousness that maybe is just in your mind. That's where people kind of think you're a little nuts. That's where people don't quite argue with you anymore. Matter of fact, they don't say too much to you about anything because they already know you've made up your mind and there's no sense in battling with you. See, that's when you're no longer balancing with the universe around you. Do you want to be that person that when you walk into a room, people say hello, look and smile? Or do you want to be that person everybody shrinks and moves away? And by the time you look up, there's nobody around you. Well, actions start with intent. And your intent has to be the best version of yourself. That doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes. Hell, you're going to make more mistakes because now you're ultra sensitive and you're feeling what's happening around you. Okay? So, what I'm trying to say is, I need you guys to own what's coming out of your mouth and the actions that follow suit. Because this Aries energy is upon us and it's knee deep, and it can be very selfish, but it can also be very clean. We can actually see and hear and probably make a lot of better choices because you're being honest with yourself. Okay. Now, I know there's a lot of anxiety going on right now in the world. I completely feel it. And I always ask people to make sure you're taking care of your psychological and mental well being first. Why? Because if you're psychologically, spiritually, and mentally fortified, it doesn't matter what the world throws at you. It really doesn't. Yes, you're going to trip. Yes, you're going to have anxiety. And yes, you'll be thinking, what the fuck? Guaranteed. But once you get past that initial reaction, once you get past what you don't like, what you prefer, what you thought, then you deal with the hardcore facts. And the hardcore facts sometimes are just this is what needs to be done, and this is how we need to do it. Now, this is when it gets into if you're going to accept it or raise up, challenge it, find a different way. These are all free will choices. The free will. Universe is not going to put a particular thing on you. All they do is listen to what we're affirming to and then allow it to happen. And I'll give you an example. One of my clients has a really good friend whose daughter just wanted to live in New York. From the time she was a little girl, she just kept saying, I'm going to live in New York, and I'm going to live in New York, and I'm going to live in New York. Well, this last weekend, she married a man from New York, and guess where they're moving to? New York. Now, I hope that it's a perfect marriage, and I hope that she's truly happy. But my client explained to her mother, this is what she wanted. She's been affirming for that for decades. I think she's 22 or 23 right now. So now she's stepping into those shoes. I can't tell you what New York will bring or not bring her, only that soul knows. But she's accomplished a goal and she has a relationship. So we give thanks, it's beautiful. But what my client made a note of is her affirmation was consistent. Are your affirmations consistent? See, for manifestation, you have to be clear and open about what you're asking the universe to bring to you. There's plenty in this world, plenty, enough for everyone. It really is. But you're always going to have a certain level of people that want to be selfish. There's always going to be a certain level of people that want to be greedy. And there'll always be a certain level of people that are innocent, that just do not have the capacity of understanding. I'm talking about your mentally handicapped, your elderly, your disenfranchised, and of course, your people who have been through so much that their spirit is just woe out. They can't even begin to fathom. And that's where we have these social things to help them because they're a part of our society. Like it or not, they are. So we have to take in consideration if they do not get any help, how much worse it could become for all of us. Because once somebody comes off hinge and let's say have no hope, they tend to start being destructive because they just have no hope and they see no glimmer of anything changing. Now, if this is making sense to you, please give me a thumb up. You see this live or hear the rebroadcast, because this is very, very, very important. All right, for you to understand. All right, because this energy is not going to be stopping. As a matter of fact, it's going to get more intense as we go through the rest of the cycles because now we're starting over again, which means you cannot pretend like you do not know something. You have to own your knowledge. You have to own the degree of where you want to go and, of course, who you want to do it with. Now, I've created a program called The Gap, the Guided Astrology Program. It's a simple program. You get a Zoom link every week that gives you a synopsis of what's going on with your sign, with your element, affirmations, some aromatherapy suggestions, and I also include the best days for each zodiac sign, which is so important because there are days when it's just not in your favor. And you got to understand that that's a part of the ebb and flow. Goes up, it goes down, goes all the way around, but spirit never fails you. Spirit never fails you. We fail spirit because we want things in a certain package, in a certain way that would make us feel like, okay, cool, I got it. And that's not always how it happens. There's signs, there's symbols, there's energy. And if you don't know how to read those things, it can be very confusing, disheartening, and sad because you'll be so close to a breakthrough, but you cannot look to the past. You have to look to the future. That's what we talk about here on the manifestation with Ari Mack. Okay, because manifesting is not just a whimsical, I wish it happens. No, no. I wish I had that magic wand. I would just be doing all kinds of things in this world, but I do not have that. Real manifestation takes determination, patience, drive, and focus. And you have to tune out the namesayers, even if they're close to you, because those people do love you, but they may have their own doubts and insecurities. And no offense, you can't absorb that. You just can't. especially if you're trying to get their support. Because a lot of times, it's the proof is in the actions. It's not in what they say or do, it's the actions and the intent that shows you exactly what you're dealing with. So, once again, I go back to asking you, what are you affirming to? Now, for Aries, I'm going to speak to you guys specifically. This is your new year. So, as a sun sign Aries person, and if you got Aries in other parts of your charts, hit me and we'll talk about it via probably email. So you can email me at candlesbyari@gmail.com. That is my personal email address. So if you have questions about Aries or about anything, hit me and I will do my best to answer. But the thing is that you have to know what you want. And let me make a few suggestions. Okay, this is for everybody, not just for Aries. You should always start off with your health. You should always start off with your health. Because if you fundamentally, physically are not feeling good, the chances of you're doing good are a lot slimmer. Not saying that you can't. I've seen people play sick. I think it was a big thing for a long time is just pick yourself up, take the hit, and all that happy, wonderful shit, which turns out to be wrong because you end up injuring your body, injuring your mind, creating trauma. You know what I'm saying? So you have to take care of this beautiful vessel because this is the only one you're going to get in this lifetime. So please, if you do an abusive activity to your body, please stop or curtail it or put it in perspective or go to the highest quality possible because your body will respond, good or bad, to whatever you're doing to it. Second, wealth. Wealth is a definition that each person has to define for themselves. Is it a material wealth? Is it a spiritual wealth? Is it a combination? Or do you understand the value of things accumulating? I think one of the things the entertainment business has done is given more people to a chance to become very wealthy because of their talents in music, in arts, and acting, and singing, and painting, because we all love that stuff, right? We admire someone that can write a song and record it and we hear it later. We find it beautiful that someone can sit and paint a picture that even today people will sit and stare at and find beauty in. Okay, so wealth is just not money, it's also what you deem to be important and enriching to you. Okay, your spiritual wealth, excuse me, should be the number one priority. But I respect that you have to make a choice. You have to figure out what that looks like to you. Okay, love. That's the next thing that you need to have in your life. First of all, starting with your self love. Yeah, self love. And a little exercise I would recommend is when you look in the mirror, say something nice to yourself. Find something beautiful in all of this that Spirit is giving you. Because there's some people in this world that do not have even half the things you have, not even one fourth. So do not take that for granted. And let me tell you something about the power of love, especially self love. It gives you the resilience to say no to things that don't feel right. You just start seeing things clearer. I have this client and she's dating now. And now she's dating with open ears and open heart. Now her heart is open, but it's not completely without boundaries. Like she's learned to put some boundaries out there. Anywho, she's dating. She meets this one gentleman. He hits certain of the boxes, got a good job, decent, got a couple of kids, seems like he's got it going on. But as he talks to her, because that's the thing about relations, you got to listen to your partner. They're talking to you, but you got to listen. He tells her that he really has never, ever 100% been on his own. Therefore, any relationship he's been in, he moves in with the person. Well, immediately, and this is something my client would have overlooked in the future, going, well, he has a job. Well, he's this and that. Mm-mm. Red flag. How is it that this man has a career, has had children, and has never established his own home life? I mean, like, that's peculiar, especially with someone who's been in relationships for years at a time. Well, he explained to her that he always just moved in with the person. And so they took over the financial responsibilities. Not that he didn't pay, because he did pay, but he didn't have to deal with the light bill, the phone bill, all that stuff. And then she asked him, well, what about with children? How did you work that out. And he says, oh, they usually stay with their mother, and I'll just go by and pick them up. And, you know, so in other words, he did the weekend daddy stuff. And he didn't really stick around for the getting up to take them to school, the going to the parent conferences, those type of things. I'm sure he did participate on a certain level because she says he's a good man, but he didn't really stay in the household enough to know all the nitty and the gritty that you go through when you're rearing children. She caught that. She caught that. And she admitted that in the past, she would have overlooked it because he had all these other qualities. See, that's what affirming and understanding self is. Once you figure out what it is that you're looking for, and maybe the energy and intent that you want to have, you start understanding why you pick and why you do things the way that you do. And it's not a handicap anymore. It becomes conscious that in her case, she wants to be in a relationship. She likes to be with successful men, but she needs to be with one who is spiritually fortified as well. That's what she got out of it. And you can do the same thing too. Look at your chart. And if you need to, set up a session with me. It's something that's an investment in your future, it's an investment in your soul. And if you can't set up a session with me at this time, join the GAP program. It's only introed at $9.99. $9.99. After that, it goes up to $29.99 a month, which is less than $10 a week to receive insight and information to get you started. Now, I promise you, what you receive is going to be in a video, and you may have to listen to it several times because when you first come in, I'm using terminologies that you may not be familiar with. Totally fine. They're recorded. So you get a chance to listen to it as much as you like, scan through it to figure out what works for you, whatever the case is. But it's the participation of having that information available. So it's like having a mini session with me, but it's just based on the sun sign. Now, because the people who join the GAP do give me their day, birth, and year, I do include them in that data. So their chart becomes a part of the big charts that I look at, which, guys, is pretty big. It's pretty big because I came from old school astrology. I did everything by hand. I actually looked at the latitude, the longitude. Now we have the computer software, so it's a lot easier. But I still like to refer to hard copies. So I keep an ephemeris. I keep books to refer to because energy is energy and it never stops. Only thing that changes is our mental attitude toward it. Yeah, yeah. Because at some point, you got to stop sabotaging. You got to own that you need good things to happen. You have to stop going toward the danger. You have to own that you deserve to be happy and healthy. Now, this Sunday, which will be the 29th, I think it's the 29th. Yeah, it's the 29th. We will be having the last meditation class for this month. It's a guided meditation. Mindful meditation is what I call it. You do not speak. It's done through Zoom. It's 55 minutes of solid spiritual chiropractic energy because it shifts you, because you go into your inner space. You go into what's going on down here, but in a safe place. The one thing I can say about my products and services is they create safety on a spiritual, mental level, which gives you a chance to breathe and make better choices. That's the goal of the whole thing, is for you to make the best choice that eases your heart, that creates balance within your soul, not making you more crazy, not leaving you in stress. And I'm just going to say this as a disclaimer: if you are working with let's just say psychics and healers that are causing you more distress, like when you leave them you're more stressed out than when you got there, that is a sign that that energy, based on the belief system of who you're dealing with, is not comparable to yours. Yeah, that means that person's energy maybe enjoys more drama and looks for more of negative. They're not helping you come up with a resolution, because a resolution gives you a chance to keep moving forward, right? It doesn't push you backwards where you keep starting the same cycle over and over again. To break the cycle, you have to own the cycle, and you have to see where your reactions elicit what you get in your life. Make sense? Because at some point, you can't keep saying it's outside energy. Even if you've had trauma, even if you have been through some ugly things in your life, you still are loved by spirit. You still have self choice. You still can move on mentally first to a better and higher ground. And I think that's what this Aries energy is offering. Now, I'm also going to be doing a color and fragrance class on Saturday, the 28th, but that is going to be for the GAP members and the members of our database. So if you happen to be at CBA, candlesbyari.com right now, register. Register for the meditation class, download the free astrology report for March. I'm working on the one for April right now. And that will put your email address in our ecosystem so we can send out these perks and information so that you can start receiving a positive positive energy on a weekly basis. Yeah. Because it's like feeding yourself. You don't go to the store and pick out everything. You pick out what you want based on the brands that you like, and that's what you serve yourself. Well, spiritually, you have to do the same. Now, as a spiritual life coach, because I don't predict the future, I help you plan it. I know Spirit has a plan for you. Okay. I know Spirit has a plan for you, but you have to get past your anxiety, your fear, and your concern about what that plan is. You have to trust yourself. Your intuition feels it, you know, but how many of us do that on a regular? That first impression usually is not overwhelming. Just for the record, it's usually pretty subtle. Oh, but the anxiety, that could be very real because change, true change, like stepping away from bad behavior, stepping away from stuff that's just doo doo, takes courage, takes patience, takes drive. But I can tell you this, for those who take those baby steps, just get up and say a positive affirmation in the morning. Before you go to sleep at night, say another affirmation. Now, I use affirmations and prayers like they're intertwined for me because they keep me sane. I mean, I meditate and pray for parking spaces, for nice people when I go to the grocery stores, that interact with people, that we can find some common respect. Because if I don't have that, then I'm not going to keep putting myself in that position. Does that make sense? Guys, give me a thumbs up if it's making sense because this is all about your spirit finding your grounding. So here's what I asked you to do. I'm live here every week from 2 o'clock, actually from 2:15 to 2:40, 2:40, 2:45. I am going to be cutting the time down to 40 minutes because, well, I got some positive feedback that maybe my format is a little bit too long. So I'm going to try it in a different way. It's whatever it takes for me to move forward. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to make the wheel work for me. Hey, hey, hey. And how that works is I listen. You pay attention. You make changes. You make compromises. First of all, within yourself to know where your long range goal is. So let's make an agreement between you and I. Let's try to treat each other with more respect. Let's put our health as a number one factor on all levels, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. Let's try to use self love and loving the people around us, especially if it's your children, your husband, your wives, your lovers. They need that reinforcement. And of course, your friends. Self expression has to be something you do to keep yourself sane because with self expression, you bring in the wealth. Because if you can express how you want to receive your wealth or what direction you want to connect with people on, baby, 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 that's your power because that door will always be open to you. Yeah. But you got to go through that process. I had another client who works in a very toxic environment. Like I'm talking crazy, crazy ass people. And I think they're probably salespeople because they constantly want her to do things that's not within her range. And she had to very quietly, but defiantly say no. Now, of course, they didn't like hearing that. And the upper management didn't know what to do with that because her job description was never clear and that was being abused. She was just being taken advantage of. That's the God's honest truth. But we prayed on it and we found the affirmation that worked for her. And she continued to do that. Well, guess what? She got moved out of that department smoothly and harmoniously. Okay. Did not have to go through a bunch of bullshit. Did not have to sit there and scream and holler. And now she's in a position with a definition that makes sense so that she's not stressing out all the time. Because that's the thing when you deal with energy that's not clear, it's chaotic, it's all over the place. And this Aries energy is going to have you look at that on a high end and on a low end. It's your choice to decide, is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? I say the glass is half full. because I'm halfway there to where I want. But some people would say it's half empty and it's draining and they don't have anything left. It depends on your mindset. And see, that's the beautiful part about spirit that I love so much with all my heart. There is no wrong way to connect with your higher power. You can do it individually, you can join religion, you can join think tanks, you can go to meditation classes. I mean, you can actually sit by the water or sit by a creek because I'm a water girl, but you can even sit in a park and just ground yourself. Like literally, just sit and ground yourself and realize that the earth and you are so connected that it's not even funny. So, your affirmations are going to lead to your actions. So, I'm going to ask you to think about what affirmations that you're speaking. Now, Candles by Ari, which is my candle company, and I suggest that you visit candlesbyari.com. You know, definitely follow, like, and share on all my social medias, which I'm on all of them. All you gotta do is Google Ari McIntyre and it'll come up. And take a listen to some of my older episodes on iHeart. I have over 300 episodes over there as well. See, this message is not going to stop for me because this is my calling. This is what universe has given me, and I've accepted that. I've accepted that. So now I'm going in full force. So I am still working on the book. And the reason I'm still working on it is because I'm not trying to pummel through and put a bunch of stuff out that may or may not be 100% of what I mean to say. So I'm taking my time and putting a lot of thought and energy behind it because I want you guys, the end user, to feel like they heard me, like they understood and they can follow my format. And it's similar to what I do with my clients, but in a written form. But it works. The routine works. Finding your rhythm. You know, if you're an earth sign, you may need more physical stuff. That's my Capricorns, my Virgos, my Tauruses. If you happen to be an air sign, which is my Aquarius, my Libra, my Geminis, you may need to be more intellectually stimulated. You may need to talk to a lot of different people before you can assess what's really going on. And for my fire signs, which is where we are now, they want action. They want to be in the know. They want to, and sometimes they can't do that. So they got to find a way to use those actions in a different way. The intent can still be there, but it can't be destructive. It needs to be constructive, right? And from my water, that's my Pisces, my Scorpio, my Cancer. I mean, you can't help but be ruled by your emotions. And we break down each of the degrees because you got the element, and then you got the signs, then you got the styles, and then you actually got what they govern. It's fascinating, right? It is fascinating. And that's why I do this show. That's why I put this energy out because I want the end users around wherever the world that this is received to know that spirit has a plan for you, that you are not alone, that even if you feel disconnected and disenfranchised, you can change that by starting with affirming something better for yourself. And let me just say this, when you start doing your affirmations, and we have some great ones at Candles by Ari, they're actually on the candle. And these affirmations have worked for many, many moons because I have done feedback and tests on all of it. Once you start figuring out what that affirmation is that resonates with you, right? It has to be something that you feel connected to. You will see a change. Now, the change will not be fast, it will be subtle. But as long as you keep seeing and following the goodness that the universe is putting on your path, you will eventually hit your goal. Promise, honest, India. Everything that I have set forth with divine intent and did my meditations and did my prayers and did my affirming every day you have to put that time in. It's like losing weight. You can't say you want to lose weight and keep going to McDonald's. Don't work. You got to change your calorie intake and you got to change your exercise intake. But as you do it and get past the frustration and the limitations and that, because people tend to look at the worst case scenario instead of looking at the benefit that this is bringing you. Once you do that, once you get past all your angst, you will find that the universe is putting more blessings on your path than you've ever imagined. Promise, honest Indian. But you got to own it. You got to see it. And you got to put the work in. So I'm going to challenge you. Get my GAP program. It's $9.99 intro. Try it for 30 days. If it doesn't suit you, cancel. It's no big deal. But if it does suit you for $29.99, that's less than $10 a week, you will continue to receive insightful information to help keep you mentally ahead of the game, to keep you mentally balanced. You can also check out Candles by Ari. Now, I have the free report, the free astrology report that I put together with affirmation suggestions and aromatherapy suggestions. That's available to you. And you can get that at my website right now. I also have a couple of free reports with affirmations specifically, and a couple of reports about Mercury. I'm still working on those reports because those are more detailed and take a little bit more time. The bottom line is you have the information available to you. It's all at an affordable price, but you got to step into owning it. You have to step in claiming it and dealing with the work that comes from it. Yeah. The more you do, the more you see, the better you are, the happier you are. I swear to you, those negative people, those people that just don't think this don't resonate with you anymore, you can't even say anything. You just go, huh, I don't even know why I was tripping with you. I don't even know why I get upset with you. Because really, in the big scheme, their opinion really doesn't matter. Their skill set and maybe their personalities have affected you because you loved them or wanted to be with them or admired them. But once you get past all that, you see them as just being human with frailties, insecurities, and limitations. And that's where true power is, because you're no longer putting anything above you. You see it as a balanced, equal nature. So, with this Aries energy right now, and we still got retrograde fallout to the 27th, I'm just going to recommend you sit down and figure out what you're affirming to. Okay, we got 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks with this energy. So it's not going to leave us anytime soon. And with Venus still being in Pisces, well, it's tiptoeing on us right now. All right. Now, like I said, with the GAP program, you get a lot of perks, but one of the biggest perks is having those days to know when's the best possible time for you to execute some of your objectives. Meaning, if you have a job interview or you have a project that's due, and you can pick the date and it works for you, and that date happens to be one of your power dates. Hey, that's just icing on top of the cake. Get your thing done, have no problems, and maybe be able to go out to dinner with the family or friends. Hey, that's what we're talking about. So let's do this. Let's make a pact to meet here again next week. I'd love it if you could share this video, like it, and leave some positive comments and constructive criticism. I'm not opposed to criticism. You just have to be respectful and considerate. Please don't be ugly and nasty. Nobody's asking you to do that. And if you don't like what I'm saying, just ignore me. You do not have to pay attention. It's all good. But if you are feeling it, like I said, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a like, follow me on my social medias. I'm on all of them: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm even on Facebook. But Facebook to me is more like family. So I publish more stuff that's personal over there because I have like all of my family that follows me. Like I have so many cousins, I have nieces and nephews, and just I trust and believe. It's a lot. So it's always more like fun stuff and things that deal with cooking and stuff like that. I'm going to do more here because we are bringing in different equipment and different elements. And just pray for me, just like I'm praying for you. Send me some positive vibration because I'm human. I love what I do. So I'm very fortunate and blessed that I get a chance to see you guys grow and change and hit your goals, which is like me growing and changing and hitting my goal. And for those new to this, spiritual coach Ari Mack. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I don't predict the future. I help you plan it. Okay. Spirit does have a plan for you, and I will help you walk in that plan. But you have to connect with me. So you have my numbers, you have my information. This channel is just going to get stronger and stronger. Okay. And I'm sending a lot of love out into this world. So I'd love to see you guys return it as well. And just remember, you are blessed. All right. And I will see you next week. Bye. Ah, how do I stop? This is always fun. Bye.